Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to Happy Hour with Holly. I'm so excited to have my new friend Jerah here with me today. We met through a networking group called FAB, Females Advancing Business, which I now know, Danita, that is what it's the acronym for. And we're going to talk about her business here today. She has multiple things going on that I'm really excited for everybody to learn about and just learn a little bit about you.
Well, thank
and
you.
Where you came from. So let's cheers.
Yes.
Toast. A little toast. And I will say, I'm not actually drinking. I started my 30-day detox today. So I'm drinking Mind Health, which helps.
I'm
with
proud
the
of
brain.
you. Not supporting you because I'm drinking vodka, but I am proud of you.
She's like kind of drinking my favorite thing.
Yes, I am.
But that's okay.
And it is delicious at 5 o'clock on a Monday.
Yes, and my kids are hidden away in the bedroom, so we should be good.
We're good.
Should be good.
Yes.
So tell me, you have a business called Clearing the Chamber.
I do.
And tell me what.
Yeah, so I was super excited to be doing this with you today. I think this is a great idea to get other people's businesses out there and then to, tell people about what you're doing too. And I think it's a really cool support system for other women's businesses. But I have several things going on. I have a business called Clearing the Chamber, and what I specialize in is teaching women self-defense, situational awareness, non-lethal weapons. I do have a firearms training component for it, and I do specialize in women. And then I started a nonprofit called WADE, which is the Women's Awareness and Defense Endeavor. And I specialize in taking low-income women, single mothers, who can't afford that kind of training but desperately need it. And I teach them and instill in them the confidence to be able to defend themselves and their children, and WADE pays for that training. And I'm also a consultant for a brand new operation coming into Grapevine on Main Street,
yes.
right across from the Stacy Furniture Building, called Texas Gun Experience. It's going to be a 35,000 square foot indoor gun range and training facility. We are going to have a ton of stuff for ladies. It's going to be really amazing, and I'm going to be the director of training there, specializing in women. We're going to have stuff for everyone. We're going to be very family oriented, but that's coming in the fall, probably September, October timeframe of this year. Texas Gun Experience, so texasgunexperience.com. You can check out our memberships and some of the things that we're going to offer.
That'll be so fun. My mom's watching. Hi, Mom. We
Hey.
just spent some time downtown Grapevine for the first time, and it's such a great little downtown area, and what a cool
gorgeous
thing to add to it.
I think that area has really needed something like this, especially for women. I mean, a gun range for guys, man, that's an easy sell.
Yeah.
But women have a different standard and a different reason for needing, the Second Amendment, needing gun training, needing defense training. And one of the areas in which we are completely failing is preparing our children to go into the world on their own. And sometimes parents are not always equipped to teach their children the right way to do things, as far as self-defense, situational awareness, how to deal with those kind of situations. And so I want to bring a formal training program into this area for that. And I would love to see parents putting their daughters and sons, their teenagers, into that, so that they are equipped to take care of themselves much better when they actually go out into the world and into college.
So when you say situational awareness, what does that mean exactly?
So a situational awareness class basically teaches you how to observe and be aware of your surroundings and how to react to potential threats. So the idea of situational awareness is to remove yourself from a situation before it really even happens. So being aware of, behavior around you, not necessarily judging people. Right? It's not about a person and what they look like. It's about their behavior, right?
Okay.
So there's a
difference.
difference.
Like in a public place.
Exactly. There's a difference between a random person having a tattoo on their face that you may judge them for, versus someone wearing inappropriate clothing in a certain season, right? So if I'm in a restaurant and I see a guy walking in and it's the middle of the summer, it's 150 degrees outside in Texas and he's wearing a trench coat. Yeah. That's going to set something off for me, and I'm going to remove myself from that situation. And so we need to teach our kids that, because if they can remove themselves from the situation before it even happens, they're safe. And so that's the pre-fence. That's what we call, so situational awareness is what we call the pre-fence, right?
Okay.
And then we want to take their training to the next level and teach them how to be in defense mode too.
Okay. And that's something you offer
Oh,
already?
absolutely. Yes. Yes, I do situational awareness and non-lethal weapons as a hybrid class.
Okay.
And it's very beneficial for teenagers that are about to exit the home and go into college or go to a trade school or go live on their own. We really want to equip them to protect themselves, but they can't carry a firearm until they're 21, so they got to have something in between, you know.
Okay.
I'm the training chair for another nonprofit called Empowered.
Okay.
And that's what we do is we go to college campuses and we teach those college kids, you know, situational awareness and non-lethal weapons. We do firearms training with the ones that are old enough to actually have a license to carry. But it's an incredible endeavor because it really changes the mindset of the teenager. And so when you start teaching kids that, you know, the byproduct of that kind of training is responsibility, accountability, looking out for your neighbor. And that's really what you want to teach your kids before you send them out into the world.
And when you're talking about non-lethal weapons, I know you posted something on your Facebook about, we went to a night at the races on Friday night, which was a fun fundraiser, but you said somebody said your Spanx are showing, and you said, no, those aren't my Spanx. That's
my holster.
That's my holster. But you weren't packing a gun. What did you have?
I was wearing a mid-length green lacy dress for the Derby night, and I have a thigh holster that has a pocket in it, and so you basically put it on like pantyhose. And this lady came up to me and she goes, it's not super noticeable. She was like, but I want you to know that your Spanx are showing. And I was like, thank you so much. I said, those are not my Spanx. That is my holster. And her eyes were like, you know. And then she goes, good for you. And I said, well, it's not a gun because you can't carry your gun in places where there's gambling. So really great segue into, you know, Texas law and why even if you never plan on carrying a gun, you should definitely take the classroom portion of the license to carry class because you need to know the laws about guns in your state. You just do. Yeah. And so in that little thigh holster pocket, I had a Kimber pepper blaster, which is a really cool thing. You can Google it. It's Kimber pepper blaster. You can get them on Amazon. They're like $35 or $40. And it's got 2 pepper gel cartridges in it. It's even got sights and a safety on it. And it's a great non-lethal weapon that debilitates up to 60 minutes. And you can carry it almost anywhere. And so that's a really great alternative in places that you can't carry a gun. And so I always want to have something on me so that I can be reactive, you know, in situations where my gun just isn't allowed by law.
Okay. And do you take training to something like that? I mean, you said you could buy it on Amazon, so is it pretty easy to use something like that?
Right. There's not a lot of training that goes into the pepper blaster. I mean, it's literally just a point and shoot mechanism. Okay. But you need to know about it. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there about the Kimber pepper blaster, and you can see the trajectory of it. It shoots up to 13 feet at 97 miles an hour. So it's an MLB fastball to the face. And it's a great non-lethal weapon. Kids, you know, teenagers actually carry them in the backpacks, carry them in their pocket. They can take them to games. They can take them to, you know, some of them even take them to school. I mean, so, you know, giving your kids the best chance to be able to defend themselves is really crucial. And it starts in the home and it starts as teenagers. And then by the time they actually become of carrying age, they're already going to have these byproducts of that training, which are responsibility, accountability, you know, awareness, looking out for your neighbor. And so when they graduate into the gun culture, and if that's something that they choose to do, they're going to be equipped to be able to handle that training.
I know that's something we had talked about because I have little kids, and you were saying you can start young with teaching boundaries and guidelines on how to use.
Oh yeah, you can even
Nerf
start.
Guns.
Absolutely, you can start training them. You can start equipping them for a life of defensive safety with their Nerf guns. It's actually really cool. I did a program in Fort Worth about this, and I did a class called Defender Mom, and I would teach moms license to carry, intro to handgun, and then I would teach them how to talk to their kids about this stuff. And so having boundaries with Nerf guns is actually really cool. So you just set up an area in your house where the Nerf guns are allowed. You can make paper targets out of, you know, copy paper. And you teach them trigger discipline, right? You teach them muzzle awareness, right? With their Nerf guns. So you can say, hey, we never point this Nerf gun at mommy. We never point it at daddy unless we're playing a game, right? And we talk about it being allowed. Never point it at mommy, never point it at daddy. Always use your trigger discipline. That means keeping your index finger, you know, off the trigger until you're absolutely ready to shoot. You know, don't point it at the dog. the cat, you know, like
Not a cat person.
No, I'm not a cat person.
Hi, Danita.
And hey, Danita. But that's what we do. And if you start them at, 5, 6, 7 years old with their Nerf guns, it's really going to set them up for a lifetime of safety.
Yeah.
And it's just, and you starting the training early, and you're just getting them used to these little nuances that eventually become muscle memory. Man, they're going to be ready for this advanced training, and they're going to be the safest they can possibly be. And then you, as a parent, get to lift that burden off your shoulders of, you're going to worry anyway.
Yeah.
You're a parent, but at least I have done everything I can do to equip my kids to be the safest they can possibly be. And that's what I want Texas Gun Experience to be for people in, the Grapevine, South Lake, Hurst, Euless, Bedford area. Like Flower Mound, yes. I want them to have a community resource for that kind of stuff. And I want it to be a community resource for people who don't even care about guns, right? I mean, there are so many ways that you can learn to defend yourself without ever having to pick up a firearm. Do I love guns? Sure. But there are a lot of people that have their own beliefs about that, and you know what? That's the beautiful thing about the Second Amendment and where we live is you get a choice. You get to choose how you want to defend yourself, and if you never want to pick up a gun in your life, that's great. But you should still be educating yourself on other ways that you can defend yourself, because your safety it should be paramount to you. It should come before anything else. Okay, and that's what people have a hard time prioritizing, So your poor time management is actually affecting your safety. So you should be making time in your month to educate yourself on your self-defense, because if you're dead, you don't get to go to your job. You don't get to be a mom to your kids. You don't have to worry about the mortgage payment. You don't have to worry about any of these things because you're dead. Okay, so you need to make your safety a priority in some way in your life, and make time to train on it. And it doesn't really take that much time. So that's one of the talks that I give when I do my public speaking is, how your poor time management affects your safety. And so we have to get people in that mindset of your safety should be a priority to you, and it should be in the forefront of your mind. Yeah. And everything else, while important, is secondary.
I think that's a very good point, because it's not something that most of us prioritize. And so the classes that you're going to offer, are they going to be something where you just come one time, or is it you go weekly, you go monthly? Like, how's that?
I have a pathway to training, and I've written this very thoughtfully, because a lot of trainers will try to sell you something because you're a woman, and I hate that. Yeah. Women's needs are different than men's as far as training goes, but it's not that different. Okay? So it's not different enough. Look at this baby here. Yeah.
He wants to be involved.
It's not different enough that you have to buy a completely different training program.
Okay.
There's just small nuances that women need to know and understand that are different than men.
Okay.
But outside of that, you don't have to take 6 weeks of introductory, gun training. Okay. You need, 2-3 lessons to get comfortable. And the goal is to get you comfortable enough to shoot or train with anyone. Because if you're not training with men and you're not getting that real world training, because likely your aggressor would be a man, okay, you're not going to get that real world training and that real world knowledge. And so my goal as an introductory trainer is to get you comfortable enough to train with anyone. Okay. And that's where we need to be, because women are warriors, women are protectors of children, and we need to start taking that seriously. And so we have to conquer the fear of, can I really do this? Sure. We have to go past living in a bubble, okay? Because there are no safe places. There are only safe people. Sad. There are only safe people. And you know this. You told me your story of coming from California. They passed this law and they let out all these, people out of jail. And so you went from having 40 homeless people to 4,000 homeless people, and people stealing pillows off your, your porch. And they were getting really close to your house. They were coming on your property. That's something that you need to be prepared for. Yeah. And so it's not paranoia. It's preparedness. That's what we need to be, is we need to be a prepared community of women that can handle a situation and protect our kids. And that's what I tell women all the time. I'm like, are you truly equipped to prepare to protect your kids? And if I asked you that question and you were honest with me, a lot of women would say no. A lot of women would say, I am not prepared to take care of my children. I am not prepared. The only thing I'm prepared to do is throw my body in front of my kids. And you know what? You're no good to your kids dead.
Right.
Okay? Yes, you would die for your children, but are you good to them dead? And so I want to be able to equip women with the confidence and skill sets that they need to have to remove their family from a situation before it even happens, to be able to detect that, trust your gut, right? But if you need to react to a situation, I want you to be able to do it confidently and efficiently. And it's not that hard to do. It's changing your mindset on how you do it.
Well, and I think that's a really good point, because it's one thing to say, can you protect yourself? It's another thing to ask someone with kids, can you protect your kids? Because that triggers something immediately in me as a mom to say, oh my gosh, I worry about things as it is, but then...
And two, it's training your kids. Yes. It's absolutely 100% you going into this training with your children. Okay, so a really good story. So my landlord, I live behind this really great couple, and they have a young boy, and their house was broken into about 6 months ago, and they were home. And they have a family emergency plan. Well, the reason that they have that is because she used to be a firefighter, her husband is a cop, and they taught their son, this is what you do. Okay, so if we hear a bump in the night, if we know that there's an intruder, this is what we do. And their family emergency plan is this: Andy, the husband, gets the gun, clears the house. He's the most equipped to do it because he's trained. He's a cop. Okay, she stays upstairs with her son. Her son knows where to go. He knows what closet to go into, and he has his own weapon, right? So he's trained on this weapon. Okay. Well, she, as the mother, she's the second line of defense. So she stays upstairs with the second gun and waits for Andy to communicate to her that all is clear. If all is not clear, she has to take action. So they have a family emergency plan on where to go and what to do if this goes down. They know what to say on the 911 call. They know how to communicate with each other, and they practice it. And that's how you have to do it. I mean, you have to put it on your calendar, and you have to say, look, every 3 months, every 2 months, whatever, we're going to do our family emergency plan, and we're going to practice it, and this is going to become second nature to us, because if something happens, we're going to be able to respond. People that want to harm you are counting on you not being able to respond. And when you are able to respond, it changes the entire dynamic of the situation, and all of a sudden you have the tactical advantage. So that's where you want to get to, and it's not hard to get there. People think it's hard to get there, but it's not. I've gotten a lot of clients out of the Colleyville Moms Group, the South Lake Moms Group, that have invited me into their homes to teach them, that have asked me to teach their kids, and it's going so well. And it's just all about opening yourself up to training.
Well, that's good. I mean, what could learning? I mean, knowledge can't hurt, right?
Oh, it absolutely
you said,
can't.
You could be for guns, against guns, whatever, but
the kids think it's fun. The kids love it. I mean, you're equipping them with a whole new skill set, and it's really fun as an adult and as a parent to watch these kids learn and react to these situations. Replace fear with understanding, replace fear with action, and then all of a sudden the kids aren't fearful anymore. They're just equipped to respond, and they know what to do, and it's actually an incredible thing to watch as an adult. Watching a kid learn. I mean, we do it as parents all the time. We're just so impressed with how our kids learn and what they take in, and how they deal with what they're learning in school, and what they take in and retain, right? And watching them be able to retain knowledge for their safety will blow your mind. It will absolutely blow your mind. And then you're going to go, God, I can trust my kids. I can trust that they're going to be as safe as they can possibly be without being under the wing of my protection. And then it lets you as a parent go, I can just breathe a little bit. Knowing that I've given my kids the tools to respond, not to be absent, right? But to continue that education and build on that foundation. And then by the time they leave you are able to go, man, I got a kid that knows what they're doing. I got a kid that's going to be the safest they can possibly be. I got a kid that's going to impart this knowledge on their college friends or their friends that they're going to meet out. They're going to be the protector. They're going to be the lookout. And they're going to, and it's just, man, we got to create this culture of people looking out for each other and being able to respond to these threats that come around all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad how much our society's changed, that we have to, I mean, in some ways it's always been there, but in some ways it's gotten worse, and we do need to be able to watch out and know what we're looking for. And I think you're right, when we're equipping our kids, they're also going to make better decisions in other areas probably, or, you know, as they're out and about, they're going to start making decisions.
It's absolutely a domino effect into other parts of their life. You know, especially I think with our daughters, you know, with our sons, it usually translates into teaching them how to protect people, you know, like, you know, when they start dating, you know, they're going to be way more protective of, you know, their girlfriend, you know, or the you know, the person that they're dating. They're just going to, it's going to translate into a very gentlemanly protectiveness. Okay. But with our daughters, it's a completely different story. And with our daughters, it translates into instilling confidence in our daughters that they can take care of themselves. So they don't put up with codependency. They don't put up with toxic relationships. They don't put up with somebody trying to control them. The byproducts are amazing, right? And we raise strong, confident women that can take care of themselves. And so then the things that they're looking for in relationships are completely different than what they would look for as a normal teenager, right? So they're looking for someone that can be a partner and not someone that can control them, right? They're going to be able to identify a toxic relationship and feel open to talking to you about it as their parent, because you have equipped them with this knowledge versus trying to hide it from you, and then you have to find out in other ways. Yeah. It's going to translate into them being able to get out of the toxic relationship and go, this is not for me. I need something better. I'm worthy and I'm better than this. You know, I did a really great talk with the Orchid Women's Group about what does the Bible say about us being able to defend ourselves as human beings. And it's there, you know, it's in the Word. And so we have to start young with our kids, and all the things that we're trying to teach our kids. It's overwhelming as parents, right? Sure. We got to make sure they're in school. We got to make sure they're learning this, that, and the other. But one thing that we do need to put at the forefront and that we cannot forget is we have to teach our children how to be aware and protect themselves. And it's going to translate and have a domino effect on so many things in their lives, and it's going to do nothing but good.
Yeah, I can see that. So how long have you been doing this?
I've been teaching for 9 years.
Okay.
I've been teaching for 9 years. I teach men, I teach women, I teach youth, but man, I love teaching women. I love, because they listen. They absolutely listen, and they take direction well, and they ask good questions. They don't have bad habits already. You know, the worst thing that I have to deal with when I'm teaching women is they just have it, you know, a lot of them have just a huge fear of firearms. Yeah. And when you're patient, kind, and understanding, and you're like them, you know, you're another woman that had to do this, they really kind of glean a confidence from that. And they go, well, if you can do it, I can do it. And I get women of all ages. I get women of all, you know, health. You know, I teach old women, young women, people with arthritis. You know, I've even taught a woman that had a limited number of fingers. And we all have the right to self-defense. We all have the ability to learn this. We just have to change our mindset to make it a priority and stop depending on other people. Because you know what? When seconds count, the police are minutes away. And they are there to help you, but you have to be your own first responder. Sure. You have to be able to take care of yourself first. And then the police and the first responders come to clean it up, you know, that's just the truth, and that's just the reality, because you are the only person that can respond on your own behalf immediately. And that's something that people need to get in their heads. You know, I love taking preconceived notions and throwing them in the trash and helping you go, this is how it is going to happen. It's not how it happens in the movies. It's how it happens in reality. And we have to be able to be there. Hey, Joey, I did used to work at Defender. I sure did.
Hey, Joey.
It was a great facility, and I do highly recommend it for people. But we are building this new facility that's going to be a little closer to you. Yeah. And a lot of the South Lake, Flower Mound, Bedford, Euless-Hurst people. And that's what I want, is a place where people can come and bring their families and get that kind of training, because my goal and my passion is to create a community of people that are equipped to defend themselves. And that is honestly, that's what your police force wants. They want a community of people who have made time for training and who have the responsibility and accountability to defend themselves in a responsible manner, okay?
Right.
Because self-defense needs to be deployed with wisdom and tact. That's just the truth of it. It has to be deployed with wisdom and tact. You have to understand the law. You have to be able to do that in a way that is fair. And the more you train, the less you fear for no reason. The more you're able to assess the situation quickly and go, is this really a threat to me or is it not? Can I talk to this person but be at the ready and not take a life, or am I going to respond out of fear? And that's really what you need to be thinking about. Absolutely.
And how did you even get started in all of this?
Well, I was raped when I was 16, and so that was a huge deciding factor in how I was going to live the rest of my life. And was I going to be a victim, or was I going to move forward in being able to properly defend myself? I've had a stalker in my life. And that's a scary situation. And so that, was even more motivation for me to be prepared and be ready. And then I would come across women in my life, friends, acquaintances, that would have even more severe situations than I've been in. And they would just have such a fear of the situation that they had no knowledge of how or where even to begin to train, right? That can be a very scary thought. And then where do you even go? Well, that's why I want to market myself, is because I want to be a resource for these women who have no idea where to start and who can't afford. That's why I started Wade. Wade's a nonprofit. I raise money to teach low-income women, single moms, people who have had situations but can't afford to train. Training costs money. And people who want to take advantage of the Second Amendment, who believe in the Second Amendment, who want to defend themselves, money shouldn't be an option. Everybody should have access to this training, and I want to make sure that they're able to do that. So, I raised $1,500 last month for Wade, and I've been running women through the program, vetting them, and it has been so awesome and so rewarding to watch these women grow in their training and go, I can do this for myself, and I can take care of my babies, and I have the skill set to defend them and respond to a situation. Man, it's just tearfully rewarding. Sure. It really, really is.
Are most of the people that you work with, are they women who are in abusive relationships? Or are they just everyday women who just...
I thought when I launched Wade that it would be that I would get a lot of women in abusive relationships. And it's actually been a very diverse group of women that have come and applied. I've had many women that just want to be proactive. I've had a number of African American women that have come to me and said, you know what, I was anti-gun, but I watched your video on this, that, or the other, and it really changed my mind on why the Second Amendment is important to me. Right? So, we don't have time to do a deep dive in that, but you know what? Racism is still out there. Okay, whether we want to admit it or not. It may not be as prevalent as it once was, but it is there, and they have a different reason for wanting that kind of training. But I have gotten some African-American single moms that are like, you know what, you inspired me to be proactive in my training. I had a really great mom who's Muslim, single mom of 5 kids, went through a terrible ordeal with her husband, and you know what, she did everything right. She found out the situation, had the husband removed from the home, did the police report, filed for emergency protective order. She reached out in the Colleyville Moms group and said, where can I get training? A bunch of Colleyville moms.
The chills.
Yeah. A bunch of Colleyville moms said, get with Jerah. She reached out to me on my personal Facebook on a Sunday. I had her in the gun range on a Monday. 2 weeks later, she took my license to carry class, which I comped through Wade. And she is on her way to, she did it right. And she said, I can't let my fear of guns overshadow the responsibility that I have to my children. And so she is confident. She is there. I have introduced her to other Wade women that I put through the program. They have their own little support group now.
Oh, cool.
That they they know each other. They're coming to the range. They're gonna they're making plans, right? They're coming to the range to practice, and that's what I want. Is I want to responsibly teach people this is what you do for self-defense. This is what you don't do. This is how you react. This is how you don't react. Come to me if you're having problems or questions or concerns. I want to be a resource for you.
Well, and you're building that community right
I
there.
want to. Yeah, I really want to.
So if people want to donate to Wade or help out with Wade, how can they?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook right now. I'm working on getting an Instagram presence, but Wade is on Facebook. It's the Women's Awareness and Defense Endeavor. Okay. You can find it on Facebook at Wade Woman. And you can donate in any dollar amount you want to. You can set up recurring donations if you want to do $25 a month, whatever. You can totally do that. And then if you want gun training yourself or self-defense training, and you can afford to pay for it, you can go to Clearing the Chamber. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Clearing the Chamber. I have a public calendar that I can send you. So the great thing about Clearing the Chamber is I do firearms training and self-defense training on your schedule where you want to have it. So you don't have to adhere to my schedule. I'm there for you. So you can literally look at my public calendar and see when my schedule meshes with yours. But let me caution you on something. I get a lot of women, and when I say a lot, I mean women weekly, that come to me and say, I waited until something happened, and now I'm lucky that I survived it, and now I'm making this a priority. I want you to make it a priority before something happens to you, because if something happens to you, I want you to be able to react to it. So don't wait. Don't say, oh, I don't have time to do this until July. Make time to do it in May. Make time to do it in May. Literally, it's a 2-hour thing, a 1 or 2 hour thing to get started. And you will be so surprised at what you glean in an hour. You'll be very surprised at that. So you need to make it a priority. So, move your calendar around, okay? Find somebody to take your kids to practice. Figure out a way to be open on a Sunday afternoon, okay? You don't have to do everything. You can say, I'm sorry, I need to skip this. I need to make my personal safety a priority, because I get a lot of people that are like, oh, I'd love to take your class, but I don't have time to do it till August. Well, then your priorities are out of order. That's just the truth, right? Your poor time management is making it hard. You're taking on too much. You have to have time in your life for a work-life balance. You have to have time in your life for self-care. You just have to do it. And priorities are priorities. Don't get me wrong. Okay. We have to make sure that we're, home, taking care of our babies, having, family time. We have to make time for work. I get that. We have to pay the bills, but you got 2 hours. Sure. You have 1 hour and you can make it work. And I'm opening myself up to make it work on your schedule. And so I'm going to need you to work with me a little bit.
Well, I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen this month for sure. Well, and I think I had lunch with Joey today and my friend Lavon, and we were talking about how important it is to make time for yourself as an adult, that's not work time, that's not kid time, and whether that's, taking care of yourself, working out. This is something that should absolutely be added to the list of something to do for yourself. Because
and here's something else I do, okay? And I don't really advertise this a lot, but I love babysitting kids.
Hey!
Okay, I love babysitting kids. I think kids are awesome. And you know what? Reach out to me. I don't even charge for it. I just want to babysit kids, okay? I did this really cool thing for Mother's Day where I took on 3 single moms. I said, give me your kids, make some time in May for me to watch your kids, take some time for your self-care, go have a date night, go with your friends, whatever you want to do. Let me watch your kids, because if anything, at least I'm equipped enough to protect them.
That's a good point.
And I'm really good with kids, and I love kids, and I want to, I want to do that. So, that's a secondary mission in my life, is to, don't be bombarded, don't be afraid to ask your village to help you with your children. Ask me. I ain't too busy. That's why I went into business for myself, so that I could have time to do the things that I wanted to do, so that I could have control of my calendar. So get with me.
Ask me to babysit your kids
on your
calendar.
Ask me to babysit your kids so that you can go out for wine with Holly, okay? And then let's get together for a gun class or a self-defense class, because you have time to do it. I promise that you do. You just need to be better about your time management. And I know a lot of you out there are going, oh, I didn't know that time management affected my safety. It does, okay? So get a good time management book, figure it out, and start prioritizing the things in your life, because you don't have to say yes to everything, but your safety is paramount.
True. Well, thank you so much for doing this. And Cheryl, I see you're watching. If you're still on, maybe we can do something with the women of Flower Mound to get together a class, but I appreciate your time.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I learned so much, and hopefully all the Facebookers out there did too.
Yes, I think this is great what you're doing. I love it. Cheers to you.
Cheers. All right, have a good night, everybody.